Hello everyone, welcome back to Real Life. I hope you're having a great day. In this episode, we're visiting St. Paul, one of the Pribilof Islands on one of the most remote points in the North Pacific between Alaska and Russia, a desolate, unforgiving island that few humans visit. This is part 3. The previous 2 episodes, number 497 and number 498, feature more amazing footage. In particular, 498 clearly demonstrates how much colder the islands were 70 years ago, with heavier snow and ice. The weather on the Pribilof Islands is challenging. Summer maximums in August reach 12 Celsius, with overnight lows of only +7. By January, -2 Celsius is the best it can be expected, with -6 overnights. Rain and snow falls a third of the days, according to NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. It can be best described as bleak. However, temperatures on St. Paul Island and St. George Island have become warmer over the last 50 years, leading to a decrease in sea ice in the winter and warmer annual temperatures overall. Climate change has significantly affected populations of flora and fauna in the Pribilofs, including seabirds, marine mammals, fish, and whales in the Bering Sea. The Pribilof Islands, formerly the Northern Fur Sea Islands, are a group of 4 volcanic islands off the coast of mainland Alaska in the Bering Sea, about 200 miles or 320 kilometers north of Unalaska, and 200 miles or 320 kilometers southwest of Cape Newenham. The islands are part of the Alaska Maritime National Wildlife Refuge. The Siberian coast is roughly 500 miles or 800 kilometers northwest. At about 77 square miles or 200 square kilometers in total, they are mostly rocky and are covered with tundra, with a population of only 572 as of the 2010 census. In greater context, St. Paul is 2,000 miles or 3,300 kilometers northwest of Seattle. The principal islands are St. Paul and St. George. The former was named for the feast of Saints Peter and Paul, on the day of which the islands were first encountered by Russian explorer Gavril Pribilof. The latter was probably named for the ship sailed by Pribilof. The Otter and Walrus Islets are near St. Paul and uninhabited. The total landmass of area of the islands is 75 square miles or 194 square kilometers. While oral traditions of the Aleut people maintain the islands were sparingly visited, no ethnohistoric or archaeological evidence points to the use or occupation of the Pribilof Islands by any native people before the Russian period in Alaska. The seasonal migrations of the northern fur seal became known by the Russians in the 1780s. Swimming north through the Aleutian Islands, the seals returned to the autumn with newly born pups. The unknown northern breeding grounds became a focus of Russian trappers. An employee of the Lebedev-Lachowski company, Gavril Pribilof, sailed in 1786 to discover the location after disobeying orders to retrieve company property in the Kuril Islands. The rookeries Pribilof visited held upwards of 4 million seals, for which they became famous. The islands became the first site of the LLC's first artel in what later became Russian America. With the creation of the Russian-American Company, a monopoly, Russian operations continued on the islands. Under the Alaska Purchase, sovereignty was passed to the United States in 1867. From 1870 to 1890, the U.S. government leased them to the Alaska Commercial Company. From 1890 through 1910, the North American Commercial Company held a monopoly on seal hunting there, but the industry shrank considerably owing to seal hunting on the open sea. The North Pacific Fur Seal Convention of 1911 was signed by the United Kingdom, Japan, Russia, and the United States to restrict hunting in the area. Under the Fur Seal Act of 1966, hunting of the seals was forbidden in the Pribilofs, with the exception of subsistence hunting by native Aleuts. Also in 1911, American journalist Ambrose Bierce suggested that the island should adopt for its motto Locus Sigilia, place of the seal, in his satirical dictionary, The Devil's Dictionary. Ambrose's writings consisted of common words followed by humorous or satirical definitions. The lexicon was written over 3 decades as a series of installments from magazines and newspapers. How he came to become familiar with the Pribilof Islands is a bit of a mystery. A post office was established for the Pribilofs in 1948 at St. Paul, with Mrs. Ruth Anderson as postmistress. Residents are concentrated in the towns of St. Paul and St. George, each on the island of the same name. Many of the residents of the islands are related. St. Paul and St. George each have small airports. Air service is provided from the Alaska mainland. St. Paul has a population of 479 people, with its economy heavily dependent on the annual taking of the snow crab and on subsistence and commercial halibut harvests. Support services to commercial fleets plying the waters of the Bering Sea also contribute to the economy. The balance of economic activity on the island relates to the working for the United States government. The U.S. Coast Guard maintains a base on St. Paul, but no longer maintains a Loran Sea master station, as Loran technology has been replaced by satellite navigation. The National Weather Service has a station on the island, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration maintains a presence. St. George has a population of 102. Its economy is similar to that of St. Paul. The Pribilof Islands are a bird-watching attraction, home to many species that do not fly in North America beyond Alaska. More than 210 species have been identified, and an estimated 2 million seabirds nest there annually. St. Paul is particularly popular, having a high cliff wall, known as Ridge Wall, above the Bering Sea. This footage was captured by a meteorologist stationed on the island in 1953-54. In his spare time, he roamed the barren hills, capturing this wonderful footage. Who he was is a mystery. However, you can see his other film, captured during his time in 1966 in American Samoa, interestingly 4,900 miles and precisely south of St. Paul's, in a far more hospitable climate. To be clear, footage captured in these remote parts of our planet is quite rare and needs to be preserved for future generations. Even though the 1950s can be considered contemporary, there's likely very little footage from the 1950s of St. Paul or the rest of the Pribilof Islands. I consider this a privilege to be the custodian of such obscure and historically important films. I hope you enjoy it, and of many others online.